What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online. Stream it up at sportstalk1051.com. Got your Google and Alexa home devices, smart speakers, smart devices, the app, and the video stream also up and rolling on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Happy opening day, kind of, sort of. Brewers will not have their opening day today, as kind of threw out there yesterday as a possibility. But yep, weather-wise, not looking good in New York. So the Mets yesterday postponing opening day for until tomorrow. So Brewers will not have their opening day today. But other teams will, including the Minnesota Twins. They're going to be taking on the Kansas City Royals this afternoon. So, but since it's still opening day, we're going to make some picks and we're going to have some predicts and all that good stuff over there too. So, still send me. I gave you your homework assignments, right? Send me your predictions for the Brewers, World Series predictions, all that fun stuff. All right. So you can start to hit me up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. All right. 715-830-1912. So we'll talk plenty of baseball here this morning, but what else do we got on the good old game plan? By the way, since no Brewers opening day today, adjusting it a bit over at our opening day event at Hy-Vee later on today. So Brandon and I will still be over there, but we're going to do kind of a live stream, video stream podcast and such over there too. So won't be over there as long, obviously, because there's no game for the Brewers and that. But Brandon and I are still gonna hang up over there or hang out over there and kind of do a live stream. If you can't make it over there, you can check it out on the Facebook and YouTube pages, kind of like how the video stream is rolling right now. So, what else do we got on the good old game plan for us this morning? We're going to talk some. Well, it's also Sweet 16, so if you could redo your Sweet 16, if you could remake some picks, right? And if you haven't done so, you can do it on our website through the Fan Cave. But if you could redo based off the Sweet 16, who would be your new Final Four? Who would be your new national champions? If you want to change it, or maybe you're riding with your original picks. But the Sweet 16 begins tonight. We got a few games in action, some good ones, I think, too. Clemson takes on Arizona. San Diego State takes on UConn. Alabama takes on North Carolina. Then the nightcap, which I think is one of the better matchups, one of the better games of the Sweet 16. Illinois taking on Iowa State. So Sweet 16 picks back up tonight. The Super 16, excuse me, for the NIT for the women's side also is tonight. And that's of note because the Badgers are in it taking on Illinois State, and that's going to be at the Kohl Center. So we got some hoops action. Plus, the Bucks are going to be in action tonight, taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. So we got that over there too. So plenty of hoops talk to get at you. It is Thursday, so we'll have a little outdoor tidbits with Jake Bilks. If you have any outdoor questions for Jake, best way, easiest way, the preferred way is to text it on over to us. So if you got a question for our DNR warden buddy, text those on over so we can get those to Jake. He'll be up at about 8:30 this morning. We'll do a little receiver defer. I'll be riding solo with the receiver defer. So if you got any good receive or defer questions, send those puppies on over. Okay. Send those puppies on over. Looking for some suggestions for a little receive or defer this morning. It is a Thirsty Thursday as well. If you want to give a shout out to anybody out there, now is your time. If you want to make their Thursday maybe a little extra special or just in general, want to do a Thirsty Thursday shout out, all right, let me know. And we'll get those we'll get those out there too. So, but what else do we got on the docket here this morning? We may throw a little football chat in here because why not? But still fairly quiet on the Packers side of things. Still fairly quiet out there in terms of free agency and moves and all that sort of stuff. So unless something maybe pops up here a little bit later on this morning, but um, yeah, it's kind of maybe they're just really focusing on the draft, getting ready for the draft right now. Well, obviously they are, but I don't know. I was kind of hoping maybe a couple more bargain moves made for the for some depth purposes. But hey, we'll see what happens to pop up here and that. So, also with the Brewers, should note, yesterday it was announced by the Brewers that Bob Uecker will be calling the first pitch of the Brewers home opener for April 2nd. He will be on the mic on April 2nd to call the game. And on that release, that media release, the last part of it says, and he'll take it one day at a time after that. So the full statement from the Brewers. Bob Uecker calling the first pitch of the Brewers home opener is the official start of summer in Milwaukee. Bob expects to be at the mic on April 2nd to call the game on WTMJ and the network, which includes us. And he'll take it one day at a time after that. So on one part, it's exciting that we're going to hear Bob Uecker, but the other part was kind of like one day at a time after that, and it's like, oh, that that part hit me. That part hit me in all the feels because that sure seems like now maybe we're getting close to the end of maybe Euchre calling some games on the radio. Because one day at a time, there's not a commitment to, you know, as many like a certain number of home games or certain number of series, one day at a time. So I mean, when I read that, when I see that, all right, we got the home opener, but then after that, we don't know. So at least we'll get them on the radio dial on next week. But it sure seems like, man, and that's the thing. Like Bob, when you think of Wisconsin sports icons and legends, I mean, Wisconsin's got a fantastic history of sports legends and sports icons. But you got Euchre at the top of the list for a lot of those, of all the coaches and of all the players. And I know Euchre used to play, but we know him because of his radio broadcasts, and he's at the top for a lot of people, at least top 3, top 5. And man, it sure seems like now, and I know, age-wise, getting up there and such, and you knew it was happening, but now when I read that last line, that to me is like, oh, that's now it really is gonna maybe the end is coming here soon. Gosh, I would love nothing more than the Brewers just to somehow, some way get a World Series title for Euchre. Somehow, some way get that World Series title. Gosh, that would be so fantastic for him. But let me ask you this question, and I know this might be kind of hard because there's so many out there. But of all the years, and maybe from all the stories, or maybe from what you saw on TV, perhaps too, does anybody have a particularly favorite euchre memory or a favorite euchre story? Like, is there something that maybe you heard on the radio call on a game, in the summer, and it's just always kind of stuck with you? Or maybe it's a telecast when he used to be on TV doing some World Series. Maybe it was, a little wrestling for wrestling fans out there, TV shows. Maybe it was a story you read about him and his time in Eau Claire. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go about this. or different avenues with this. So, is there one that stands out in particular to you, or just for whatever reason, it's like, yeah, that one, that one always stuck to me. Like one for me, I remember I was driving home. No, I was driving back to college. I was driving back to college, UW Eau Claire over here, and I had the game on the radio in my good old red Oldsmobile Achieva that I thought was like the coolest car in the world. But it was like an Oldsmobile, but it tried to look a little sporty there. But I remember having the game on there. I don't know why this one just stuck to me, but he had like a young boy in the broadcast booth with him, and he was trying to ask the kid questions. Like a lot of kids, they're nervous or they don't answer, or it's very short answers or very quiet. And I remember Euchre's like, "Hey, you want a beer to kind of maybe open up a little bit more, lighten up a little bit more?" Parents probably won't like that. And I don't know why, I just thought it was so funny, and it always just stuck with me that. So there's so many. I mean, you got Major League if you want to throw baseball a movie in there too. But if you have a favorite Euchre memory, story, or just a whatever, let me know. Let's share it around. So on this Thirsty Thursday, I'm going to give a little toast and a little shout out to Mr. Baseball himself, Mr. Bob Euchre. How about that? So, text those on over 715-830-1912. So, how about it? Let's just jump right into it. It is opening day, and I know Brewers fans a little bit of a downer because the Brewer Crew won't be in action today. But they'll be back. They'll be in action tomorrow. They'll start it off tomorrow in New York there. So, but that doesn't mean we still can't talk about opening day and do some predictions and maybe some bold predictions. Anybody got some bold predictions out there? Think the Brewers make the postseason or not? You picking them, or do you think they'll win the division? What do you got for me? Give me some Jackson Cheerio predictions too. Okay, give me some predictions. Like, what do you think his line's going to be? What is his stat line going to be this year? Do you think he wins National Rookie of the Year? All right, I want to hear it all, and I want to hear your World Series predictions too. So let's uh let's jump right into it. First break, and then we'll get the leadoff going this morning. Talking some baseball. Happy opening day, even though the Crew aren't playing. But if you're a Twins fan, hey, your Twins are in action and such. Still opening day. Still get to be excited for a little baseball, right? All right, let's kick it into gear here. Quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Doesn't that get you all pumped up for opening day? Little Field of Dreams, one of my favorite movie lines and quotes there. Whatever you wanna call it, James Earl Jones. Come on now, man. Happy opening day, everybody, even though, the Brewers will not, be have any opening day today. Postponed it to tomorrow, because of the weather in New York. So, yes, you can begin your gripes about, not having opening day in domed stadiums or roofed stadiums, retractable roofs, whatever the case may be, but, nonetheless, hopefully we'll get it in tomorrow. But it is opening day across, Major League Baseball. Pretty much everybody else is in action today, including the Twinnies. They'll be going up against the Kansas City Royals, 3:10. If you're a Cardinals fan, well, you got the Dodgers at, 3:10. And then, you've got, the Cubbies, also in action tonight, taking on the Texas Rangers. Atlanta and Philly's also been postponed for the weather over there too. So, first game, it was gonna be the Brewers and the Mets today, but now the first game gonna be, the Angels and Baltimore coming up at 2:05 this afternoon. Corbin Burns, maybe. Alright, Bird fans, if you wanna see Corbin Burns in a different uniform, get to see him first up later on today. Also, you've got, the Yankees in action going up against the Houston Astros. That's also at 3:10. A lot of games beginning at 3:10 today. So, even though no Brewers, today, it still is opening day here. So, give me your predictions. Give me your, World Series picks. Do the Brewers make the postseason? Do they win the division? Anything else you want to make? Do you think Jackson Cheerio wins Rookie of the Year? Or what do you think his stat line is going to be? Where do you think his stat line is going to be? So let me know. Give me your predictions. 715-830-1912. I'm gonna give you my predictions here. Let's just go right into it. Let's start with the American League. You look at that AL East. You got the Yankees, you got Baltimore. That sure seems like they're gonna go, be another solid unit going all in this year with the acquisition of Corbin Burns from the Crew earlier this offseason, right before spring training. You've got the Tampa Bay Rays that just I think almost every single year, a lot of us just kind of overlook them, and yet there they are, either at the top of the division or competing for a playoff spots. And you got Toronto also in there. Shout out Dalton Varsho over there. A lot of talent over there in Toronto too. And then Boston, kind of in there too. And I think a lot of people maybe just kind of confused of with Boston, like what exactly is going on with them and how good are they going to be and all that sort of stuff there too. So when I look at the AL East, I'm gonna. I know the majority has gone with Baltimore, and I'm gonna put my eggs in that basket too. I'm gonna pick Baltimore to win the AL East this year. The Corbin Burns trade, I think, was a big boost for them. They are a team that's in a win now mode, and if Corbin Burns can stay healthy and he can, I know a lot of national peeps are picking him as the American League Cy Young Award winner too. I don't know if Jackson Holiday at some point probably going to be called up or probably going to be a big time player for them. When you look, yes, it is the son of Matt Holiday, but I think at some point you're going to see Jackson Holiday be a focal, or maybe not a focal part, but he's going to be part of this team at some point this year. He's a number one rated prospect so far in baseball, Jackson Cheerio being number two. So I think you're going to see him at some point, but I'm going to go with the Orioles winning the AL East this year. I'll save the wild cards because I do have a wild card team coming out of the AL East. So I'll save the wild cards towards the bottom here. The Central, I'm going with the Twins. I think this is a division too. It's not the greatest division in terms of depth. Cleveland, you got Stephen Vogt over there as a first-time manager, replacing Terry Francona. How is that all going to work out? I think Detroit is on the upswing, but I don't think it's going to be this year. So I do think the Twins take the Central. it might be similar to how it was the last couple of years. It might take, just 80 some games, low 80s to win this division. But I'm going to go with the Twins. I do think the Tigers have a really good shot at finishing second in this division. Cleveland to me is I don't know. I don't know how to gauge Cleveland right now. So I'm gonna go with the Twinnies winning the AL Central. And then the AL West, you've got the defending champs, you got Texas on there, you've got Houston. I think in Seattle could be a sneaky good team over there too, but I'm gonna go with Houston. And I know that, got a new manager and such over there too, but I'll go with Houston. Don't sleep on Texas, though. I think it's going to be between Houston and Texas that wins this division. It's going to be a battle between those two. I think Houston ultimately kind of just edges it out. But wild card wise, I'm going Texas. Texas getting a wild card spot. I'm going to go with the Yankees getting a wild card spot. And I'm going to throw Toronto in there. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. I'm going to go. I think I know I might be overlooking Tampa Bay again this year, or even overlooking Seattle. But give me the Blue Jays as a team that squeaks in for the wild card. So those are my AL picks for division and playoffs. Let's go to the National League. I'm going to save the Central for last here. So let's roll with. I thought we had something breaking there, but no. Okay, so let's roll with. I should say, let's start off with the National League East. It's Atlanta. I think Philadelphia is going to be up there too, but I think Atlanta is the cream of the crop in the National League East. So a lot of people have. I mean, we just went through the ESPN predictions yesterday, right? We went through those predictions, and they had Atlanta winning the whole thing, like the majority of the votes. They had a bunch of writers voting in on it. So I'm with it. I think Atlanta is the team to beat. Philly is going to be tough, which I'm kind of probably already tipping one of my wild card teams there. But yeah, I'm rolling with the Atlanta Braves to win the East. And then in the West, I mean, it's the Dodgers. I do think the Otani thing is going to hang over their heads a little bit, but I mean, for crying out loud, this Dodgers team is so freaking talented that there should be no reason why they can't overcome that. They're so deep and so talented, and they know what's the goal. It's World Series or bust. It's winning the World Series or bust. It's not just getting to the flipping World Series. It's you better win it this year. Otherwise, I think Dave Roberts, I think, is kind of on the hot seat, but on the hot seat because you better win the World Series or not with all that talent. And then they signed up Will Smith long term too. I mean, for crying out loud, they're just printing cash over there for the Dodgers. So I'm going to have the Dodgers win the National League West. Again, if you go to the ESPN, to the Mothership's predictions, that was the only division where everybody voted for the Dodgers. It was a clean sweep for them. The Central, now I think I'm going to change my pick. So if you listened to the podcast that Brandon and I did last Friday, this is the one change I'm going to make. This is the one change I'm going to make. And I'm not 100% confident in this either. I'm going to go. This one's tough for me. I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go with the Reds. I'm not confident in that. I'll just tell you what. I originally had the Cardinals because I thought the Cardinals, okay, will they make a bounce back this year? They added some veteran starters to that rotation there. Could they kind of bounce back this year? And I think again, this is going to be a division that you're not going to have necessarily. I think a World Series favorite come out of here, but there might be a little bit of a battle in terms of maybe the deepest division. Is it fair to say the NL Central might be the deepest division? Not necessarily the best, but just in terms of competition, who could win this division? And I keep going back and forth on this thing, and I know that Cubs got a ton of votes, which I you throw them in there too. My question is Craig Counsell, and I think this is a good question. I think they're actually going to talk about this. I was reading about this last night on Sunday Night Baseball, and there was a headline where they're talking because they got the Cubs, and they're going to talk about the move to from David Ross to Craig Counsell. Is Craig Counsell, how many more wins is he worth? Is he worth kind of over Rossi, over David Ross? And they're going to do some analytical stuff and talk about that and that sort of stuff. And they talked about how Craig Counsell really utilizes the bullpen. How is he going to be able to do that with the Cubs this year and such? But boy, this one's tough for me because I can make a case for 4 of these teams. Maybe I'll go with the Reds squeaking by. But if you want to tell me the Brewers are going to do it, you want to tell me that the Cubs are going to do it, you want to tell me that the Cardinals are going to do it, I ain't going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you. I think you can make a case for at least 4 of these teams, and I think the Pirates might be a pesky team. I mean, you remember last year they were kind of up there. So, I mean, they're not going to be a pushover, I don't think. I think they're going to be a pesky team, and I think they're going to have something to say, for at least a big chunk of this season. But, man, I'll go with the Reds, I guess, but I'm not confident in that. I'm flip-flopping. Honestly, I'll probably change it by the time this is over with at 9:00 too. If I'm being real, I might still change it. Wild card teams, Philly. I'm riding with Philly on that one. I think that's pretty simple over there. I'm going to go with the Phillies. I am also going to go with the Padres. I'm going to ride with the Padres to get a wild card spot. Not confident in that. And this is another change here too, since I've moved the Reds up, because I had the Reds coming in as a wild card. Wiping that out, I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks getting back to the postseason. So, recap it. My picks for division winners, wild cards, American League, Baltimore, Minnesota, Houston are your division winners. Your wild cards are going to be Texas, Yanks, Blue Jays, National League, Atlanta, Dodgers, Reds, Phillies, Padres, Diamondbacks. But I'm more confident about my American League picks than I am with the National League right now. And yes, I don't have the Brewers making the postseason. By default, I don't have them. I hope I am 100% wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. Brandon and I we did our predictions here, and I had them. And honestly, I didn't know it was the Vegas line at that point in time, but I had them at 77 wins this year, and apparently that's right around the Vegas line. So I the thing to me with the Brewers is I think they've got pieces to get to the postseason. But to me, the biggest question mark for me is going to be that pitching staff. I don't know, especially the starting staff. You got Freddie Peralta as your ace. He's probably the guy that you're most confident in, but there's still, I think, questions about can he be an ace? Can he be a number 1 starting pitcher for some people out there? I mean, he's a former All-Star. He's shown some amazing stuff, shown some really good stuff. But is he ready to take on the role as an ace? For some people, there's questions surrounding that. And it's kind of weird to say that maybe I have a little bit more confidence in their offensive lineup, which still has question marks around it, than what I do with the starting staff right now. Wade Miley, how many innings should we expect from him this year? What are we going to get from him? I don't know. How good is DL Hall going to be? DL Hall is going to get the second start. He's going to get the start on Saturday. One of the guys that we got back in return from the Corbin Burns trade. Dude's got electric stuff, but he's young and he's inexperienced. Could he be a little up and down? I think that's the expectation. It's going to probably have a little up and down unless he just goes out there and his lights out. After that, I still don't know what to expect from Colin Ray. We saw him last year, but that was the first time, and we didn't know who the hell he was beforehand. Now he's going to be a part of this rotation. I don't know. Joe Ross making a comeback? I don't know what to expect from him. We haven't seen him in a couple years. Jacob Junis, I don't know what to expect from the starting rotation. And that, to me, is the biggest question mark surrounding this Brewer squad. And that's kind of why I have them down to 77 wins. And even on the offensive side for the Brewers, I'm looking at this like, okay, Reese, I think, is going to be a nice addition, cleanup hitter. I think Willie Adames is going to have a better offensive year this year because he's entering that final year. Payday, how many times have we seen this? Guys that are due for new contracts, they go out there and they just play better. I think Willie does play better numbers-wise, offensive numbers-wise, than he did last year. I think Gary Sanchez is a nice addition for some depth in DH. I think Contreras is going to continue to get better at the plate. I think the version we saw of Christian Yelich last year is the version we may get this year, although I think he's probably not going to be batting leadoff, so maybe not as many stolen bases from him, but maybe an increase in RBIs. But looking at that 275, 280 type of hitter, maybe around 20 home runs. But other than that, it's like, okay, what are some realistic numbers to expect from Jackson Cheerio this year? Realistic. Dude just turned 20 and he's making his major league debut and he's only got a handful of AAA games on there. Are we going to put a lot of pressure on him right away? We saw Sal Frelick last year. Is he going to make that jump this year? It's Garrett Mitchell when he's healthy and gets back. Is he going to make that jump? Is Bryce Terang going to get better offensively? We know he's a great defensive player, but is he going to get better offensively? Joey Wiemer if he gets in there. So even the offense has question marks surrounding this, and a lot of it is just because how good and how consistent and how big of an impact are these younger guys going to have on this lineup. If Frelick and Terang and Mitchell and Wiemer and Cheerio go out there and they play some solid ball and they are solid offensive contributors, I think that makes a world of difference. And that's going to put a little bit more, the unknown of this starting staff puts a little bit more pressure on this offense too. Maybe a lot more pressure on this offense. You can't have offensive performances like we saw last year where it was just like, I mean, you couldn't buy a run some nights and you couldn't screw up defensively. You had to have how many almost perfect pitching outings. I mean, it put a lot of pressure on your arms, your starters, your bullpen. Offense can't do that this year. And then let's face it, we got a new manager, Pat Murphy. I don't know what to expect from him. We gotta have some thoughts, and I don't know, and that's maybe why I'm lowering some of my expectations for this team and maybe not trying to get too high. And I hope I'm surprised, and I hope we're talking about, in September and October, the Brewers going to the postseason. I really hope so. I hope it's like, again, we keep using this example, but I hope it's like Green Bay. Maybe they start off a little slow, but then in that second half, they start to gain some momentum. The young guys start to kind of get a little bit more comfortable, get in a little bit of a groove here, and then they roll. But I think the biggest thing for me that I can't get the Brewers to like 85 to 90 wins, whatever, is that starting staff. I don't know how much I can put into that starting staff right now. I've got confidence in Freddie to be a really good pitcher. After that, I don't know how much Wade Miley is going to play. I don't know what to expect from Colin Ray, Joe Ross, and DL Hall's got stuff, but is he, is he going to be consistent this year? He might be a little wild out there. I don't know. And that to me is, and then you factor in Devin Williams is going to be missing some time. So I mean, that's going to be kind of a hold your breath whenever if we get into some tight situations and you got to go to your bullpen and you know what, your best bullpen pitcher's not available. So I'm going around 77, and I hope I'm wrong. What are realistic expectations for you though or what should be realistic expectations this year for one Jackson Cheerio? This is a kid that's coming in with a ton of hype, a ton of excitement, a ton of expectations. He's got a lot on his shoulders, a lot of people that are going to be paying attention to him, hoping, thinking he's going to be the next face of the franchise. Maybe he is already the face of the franchise. But for year one, in his rookie year, what are realistic expectations for Jackson Cheerio? Well, I'll tell you what some of the projections out there have for one Jackson Cheerio. But first, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap up the first hour after these quick words. Are you looking to get your name out in the public eye more? Do you need some apparel, drinkware, signage done? Whatever marketing materials you may be looking for, Resonance Branding Company has a wide range of items to help make your brand stand out from the competition. All your branding needs in one convenient place. Resonance is here to save you time, money, and headaches. They can also set you up with an online store to sell your items too. So let me simply ask you, does your brand resonate? Resonance Branding Company, the official swag provider for the program and the Man Cave podcast. All right, Jackson Cheerio. What are some realistic expectations for Jackson in his rookie year? He is going to be starting in right field, according to Pat Murphy. Saw that yesterday. So tomorrow, opening day for the Crew, he will be starting in right field. Assuming that means maybe like a Perkins or a Weimer, maybe even Frelick starting in center over there. But for Cheerio, offensively, what are your realistic expectations? We've got some projections because when it comes to baseball, you got a bunch of different sources when it comes to some projections, right? Well, I've got Fangraphs projections up here for Jackson. Okay, so and I'll say there's a lot of common themes between the other services out there, but let's use Fangraphs here for a sec. So they're projecting Jackson Cheerio to bat 258, have an on base percentage of a 305, slugging 411, 17 home runs, 68 RBIs, 25 stolen bases, and then scoring 66 runs, playing in 130 games. Very similar to a lot of them. The most I've seen for stolen bases comes from Zips. They have him at 35. The most I've seen for home runs is 17, which is Fangraphs over there. RBIs is kind of same. 76 was the highest, and that was a Zips too. They also had him as a higher batting average at 263. So I've seen from here high as 263, low as a 251 in terms of batting average. So let's kind of use the average here. Okay. 255, 260, somewhere around there, batting average. Home runs, probably 17, 16. Is that are those numbers good enough for you in the first year, in the rookie year? With a kid that's coming in with a ton of expectations. This is what I feel like some, maybe not the majority, but I do feel like some Brewers fans are going to say these numbers are not what he should be producing. And I would agree with you a couple of years down the road, but I think rookie year coming in, of course we want higher numbers. Of course we want the guy to hit close to 300 and have 40 stolen bases and maybe, home runs in the 20s and such. But if he finishes off the season hitting 260, 255, wherever it is, I'm not going to jump off the boat of Jackson Cheerio right away. I'm not going to jump off that boat. And I think, it's kind of hard to just assess a player's season just looking at numbers and statistics and all that. I think we got to, kind of, does he pass the eye test over there too? So, that's what I'm hoping to see for of course I would love to see Jackson Cheerio putting up eye-popping numbers. I think he'll win Rookie of the Year. I think he will win National Rookie of the Year. I think part of that though too is going to be because he comes in with a lot of fanfare, or he's kind of the leading candidate to come in right away. And I think he's going to have some games this year where it's going to be like, oh yeah, baby, heck yeah. He's going to go out there and he's going to look like the stud that we kind of heard about for the last few years. And he's going to have some games that's like, what is going on? It's going to be an up and down season, I think, for Jackson Cheerio. Hopefully more up than down. But I really feel like if he does go out there and he hits 260, there's going to be some fans that are going to be really disappointed, and they're already going to say, what a bust after just 1 year in his first year in the majors. I hope that's not the case, but odds are probably going to be that way. But I think that's a realistic expectation for Cheerio. 255, 260. The big thing I want to see is those stolen base numbers. I know a couple months ago when they had some dark horse candidates for some predictions in baseball, he was a number one dark horse candidate for to lead the majors in stolen bases. Him and Bryce Terang were up there. The biggest question marks for those two guys, though, is are they going to consistently get on base? Are they going to, get the opportunity to steal a bunch of bases? And what is the Brewers' mindset going to be on that? Are they going to be more aggressive on the base pass? I hope so. I think a lot of us hope so. That with Pat Murphy out there, that they are going to be more aggressive, trying to steal more bases, utilizing that speed with a Frelick, with a Terang, with a Cheerio, with a Mitchell. That they maybe play a little small ball and just move the runners station to station. All right, coming up next hour, we'll get back to more baseball talk, plenty of baseball talk with opening day upon us. But send me your World Series predictions, send me your Brewers predictions, or your favorite team if you're the Twins, Cubs, wherever it may be. Send those on over. Hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line or a tweet at DANKASPER. Do that over there. Also, we got Sweet 16 tonight. Sweet 16 begins tonight. If you could redo your picks, and we're going to find out who's going to the Final Four after this weekend. If you could redo them, who would be your new Final Four? Or if you've got all your Final Four teams left, be like, dude, I'm staying with my original picks. I'm still good with mine. I got to change mine. I already got one out. Might have to make another change too. So we'll talk some college hoops coming up, including what did Chris McIntosh have to say about Greg Gard's future? Second hour kicking off this morning on this opening day, Brewerless opening day, but nonetheless, it's still opening day for Major League Baseball. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however, you may be tuning in. We'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up a little bit later on, but we got a few predictions to get to here. A lot of you going with between 70, 75, and 80 wins for the Brewers. I'm just going to go through it. I'm not going to throw names on there. We got a 75. We got a 74. We got a 78. We've got an 81. We've got 70. We've got 83. We've got 85. We've got another 75. We got a 77. We've got a 78. We've got 74. We got an 82. We got another 86. So, yeah, kind of all over. Haven't seen anybody hit 90 or higher yet on the texting line right now. So, win total in Vegas is 76.5. You taking the over under? Well, Ronnie, I said 77 earlier, so I guess it would be the over. We got for Jackson Cheerio picks. Dave is saying I think 260 is fair to expect in his first year. I know you mentioned Fangraphs has 258, so I will go with that. Aaron is going to go with 255 and 30 stolen bases for Jackson Cheerio with 15 home runs. Got Greg saying that I agree. I think some fans are going to say that Jackson Cheerio is going to be a little disappointing this year because if he hits around 255 to 260, that's where I expect him to hit. But I think some fans are going to say that's not enough. We got another prediction for Jackson Cheerio. I'm going to roll with 262 this year. And I think for his first year, that is definitely acceptable, especially for a guy who's barely even played in the AAA level and first time at the major league level. We've got Nick going with Jackson Cheerio, saying that I think a reasonable expectation for him is to do 255 at the plate. What else do we got? We've got Richie. Are you guys still going to be at Hy-Vee 11? Yeah. Did you even like Richie? Did you even like the status saying we were still going to be there doing up a podcast and such at 11:30? Yep, 11:30. We're just doing a podcast, so we're just going to hang out there, do a quick podcast, and all that stuff. Got Setsville Brad. Oh, you're going a little higher. 265. A little higher expectations for Jackson Cheerio. Take that all day long for a rookie. Better than 80% of the team the last few years. Some more Jackson Cheerio predictions here. We got, I love the odd numbers, 257. 257 for Jackson Cheerio. Don't have a name for that texter over there. So, all right, keep those picks coming. What about the rest of you? Give me some predictions for the Brewers win record. Do they win the division this year? Yes or no? How many wins do you have for them? Who is your World Series predictions? Okay, matchup and World Series winner. Hit me up with those with a quick text. Okay, so we'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up here in just a little bit. Back into this hour, we'll do some receiver defer. So I'm looking for some receiver defer questions from you all. Hit me up with those if you got some good ones over there. Okay. We also got Sweet 16 tips off tonight. They got the Badger women's basketball team in the Super 16 and the NIT. That's going to be at the Kohl Center, taking on Illinois State. But for the Sweet 16, if you could redo your Final Four, reminder, we got a Sweet 16 bracket challenge up too. You just got to go to our website and click on that fan cave. It's the same area where you originally did your brackets. You'll see another tab that says 16 on there. So you can do a Sweet 16 bracket challenge if you'd like. But if you could redo it, redo your Final Four, who would it be? Or maybe you got your Final Four still intact and you're like, dude, no, I'm good. Staying with the OG, staying with my original picks over there. Tonight, we've got, I think, a really good game coming up here. We've got Indiana, Iowa State versus Illinois. That's going to be the nightcap tonight. Also, you got Clemson takes on Arizona. That's the first one. San Diego State takes on UConn. Alabama takes on North Carolina. So I will redo my Final Four coming up here because we're going to know who's going to the Final Four after this weekend. But really quick before that, anybody wondering what the future is going to be like for Greg Gard? He's sticking around. This was from Badger Extra. Chris McIntosh saying that I think Greg Gard puts us in the best position to be successful into the future. I think Greg has a great understanding of what's needed in the continued evaluation of our program to get there. It's a program that's been evolving with the times that we live in, and I'm excited about some of the things that he and I talked about for the future and the evolution of the program. McIntosh and Gard, according to BadgerExtra.com, McIntosh and Gard met this week to talk about a season that included ups and downs. It says here, if McIntosh has any concerns about the direction the program is headed following a 22-14 campaign that ended with their loss of James Madison, he didn't let on during the 30-minute conversation in his office to Badger Extra. As it says here, that Gard is returning for a 10th season will anger some fans who believe the program has reached its ceiling under the former Bo Ryan disciple. So, Gard, he's got a 635 winning percentage overall, 186 and 107. He's 104 and 70, a 598 win percentage in the Big Ten since taking over for Bo Ryan through the midway part of that 2015-2016 season. So there you have it. Greg Gard will be out there for at least one more season. McIntosh also went on to say everyone understands what the expectation is at Wisconsin. It's championship level basketball. That's what we're striving for, and that's what we're working towards. McIntosh went on to say the way the season ended isn't how we wanted it to end, but our goal is to compete for national championships. That's the goal. But you're not invited to play it in those 6 games unless you do well in the Big Ten regular season. And you've got to make it through the season, and you have to position yourself coming out of the Big Ten regular season in a way that gives you the best chance in the tournament. You can help yourself by being highly competitive or striving for championships in the regular season, and it can put you in a better position going into the tournament. But the two aren't mutually exclusive. So there you have it. Greg Gard will be back on the sidelines. All right. So if I could redo my Final Four picks here with the Sweet 16 tipping off tonight, I'm staying with UConn coming out of their region. They got San Diego State tonight. I'm excited, though, about a potential, whether it's UConn versus Illinois or UConn versus Iowa State. I think that's going to be a really, really fun Elite Eight matchup. So I'll still have UConn coming out of there, but this Illinois and Iowa State game, man, I think that's going to be one of the better games in this Sweet 16, one of the better games in the tournament. I think I'm going to go with Illinois. I think I'm going to change. I'm going to go Illinois. Going to the Elite Eight. I'll ride with that. But UConn's still going to the Final Four. North Carolina, Alabama, Clemson versus Arizona. I know a lot of people are high on Clemson heading into this tournament as a sneaky good team there. Arizona. You know what? I had Arizona going to the Final Four. I'm still going to ride Arizona through this region. I think both North Carolina and Arizona win, and then give me Arizona to win the West region and get to the Final Four. Going to be a little bit of a home crowd for them over there too. So on the South side, I think Houston and Duke's going to be a really good game tomorrow night. I think that's going to be a fun one. I think Houston squeaks it out. I don't know. Gosh, that's a tough one. First of all, Marquette does end NC State's run. I think Marquette takes care of business there. They get to Elite Eight. I think Marquette's got a shot to get to the Final Four now. I think they got a legitimate shot. Um, boy, this was the one that I really needed help in. This was the what I always said spicy bracket. I'll go chalk. I'll go Houston coming out of there. Just because that one's tough for me. I'll go chalk and go Houston. The second game or the second best game, if I had to rank them, I think Iowa State Illinois is going to be fantastic. I think the second game that I'm really looking forward to is the Creighton versus Tennessee game. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. That's tomorrow night too. I think Purdue takes care of Gonzaga. They get to the Elite Eight. And then I'm going to go with Tennessee taking on Creighton, but then I think Purdue goes. I had Purdue in the national championship going up against UConn. I'm going to stay with that. So I guess I'm staying 3 out of my 4, and the reason I've got to change the one because my one Final Four team didn't get in there. So yeah, I'm going chalkish 1-2, 1-1. Very chalkish 1-2, 1-1. Although I could see Duke getting in there, and I could see Marquette getting in there from the South. But there, that's how I have got it. I just got to make the picks yet online on our website through the fan cave over there. But I think this Sweet 16, we've got some really good matchups. I know there's every 1 seed still alive. You've got every 2 seed is still alive, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's so chalky though. Like all the top seeds are out there. That's not fun. Not as many upsets. But I think it's set up for some really good games though too. Like Illinois, Iowa State, Duke versus Houston, I think is going to be a lot of fun. Heck, the way NC State's been playing, ever since winning the ACC tournament and such, I think they could potentially give Marquette some fits. North Carolina, Alabama, possibly over there too. Clemson, a lot of people were high on Clemson as a sneaky good team. They got Arizona, which, what version of Arizona are you going to get? And then Creighton versus Tennessee. Tennessee's a popular pick to come out of there. I think you got some really good matchups in these Sweet 16s, and I think that's going to lead to some fantastic Elite 8 matchups this weekend. Some fantastic ones. So, kind of flew under the radar. The, opening days today, but I think Sweet 16's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. Maybe some for guys like, oh yeah, that tips off tonight. You got good games tonight, so don't forget to pay attention to that. First game up is going to be UConn, San Diego State. Tip time about 6:39 p.m. And then after that will be the Illinois Iowa State game. But then you've got Clemson and Alabama is the first game, or Clemson Arizona is the first game at 6:09. Then the North Carolina Alabama play right after them too. So. All right. Don't forget to get those in. And if you want to text me your new Final Four picks, you can go ahead and do so. Let's take a quick break. We'll get back to some more baseball talk. Bucks are also back in action tonight as they take on the Pelicans. Got 10 more games left to go in the regular season here for the Milwaukee Bucks. They begin a little bit of a road trip here. Pelicans tonight on the road against Atlanta on Saturday. On the road next Tuesday against Washington before returning home for 5 more games at the friendly confines of the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, and then they wrap it up with 2 road games, Oklahoma City and Orlando. So Bucks are also back in action tonight. So we'll get to that as well. We'll take a quick break, though, and we'll be back. Don't forget to give me your receiver defer questions. Also, if you got any questions for Mr. Jake Boakes, our conservation warden, hit us up with a text on those. Perks, I love perks. You love perks. We all love perks. And one of the best perks you can find in the Chippewa Valley is Hy-Vee Perks. Hy-Vee Perks is a free and easy program for Hy-Vee shoppers. Access exclusive perks prices, earn discounts on gas when you purchase designated products at Hy-Vee, and save more with exclusive deals, offers, and rewards. The best part, it's free to join. Not a part of Hy-Vee Perks yet? No worries. Just stop by at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire to sign up. Start taking advantage of the best shopping deals in the Chippewa Valley right now with Hy-Vee and Hy-Vee Perks. Don't forget too, with opening day, with the crew in action, Hy-Vee's got that team shop over there. If you need some new Brewer swag to get ready for the season, go check it out. They got some legit stuff over there. Brewer swag, Buck swag, Packer swag, Badgers. Heck, even if you're a Vikings fan, they've got that over there too. So, but check it all out. Check it all out. It's over at the team shop at Hy-Vee there. To answer this question from a texter, again, I wish give me a name so I could give you a little bit of credit over there, but looks like a first-time texter here. Did you see that proposed, or did you hear about, I should say, that proposed trade for the Vikings to get Kyler Murray from the Cardinals? I'm assuming you're referring to Mike Tannenbaum. He's a former general manager that had a mock draft out for ESPN, and he mocked that the Vikings would trade the 11th pick to the Cardinals for Kyler Murray and the number 66 pick. Arizona then would take J.J. McCarthy. I did see that. I don't know if you're asking me for my thoughts on it, but Tannenbaum said the logic is that Murray is cheaper and younger than Kirk Cousins would have been to resign, and gives them a chance to compete this season rather than rebuild. Boy, like I would have to look at cap wise because JJ, Justin Jefferson's going to get a huge contract. So, I mean, you're going to have Kyler Murray, who's already got a huge contract, then under, taking a hit. Then you'd have JJ taking a hit. You necessarily wouldn't be able to take advantage of rookie contract with a quarterback in that. But I guess I'll throw it out to Vikings fans out there. What would you say? I will say this. I think if Kyler Murray's paired up with Justin Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson, and throw in a little Aaron Jones in there, I think Kyler Murray would be pretty good. I think he'd be pretty good. It wasn't that long ago, a couple years ago, he was a heavy MVP favorite. And I know ever since his injury and all that's kind of come down a little bit. But pairing him up with a JJ and Addison and Hawkinson and Aaron Jones, I think that'd be intriguing. I think that'd be kind of dangerous. But I'd be curious to hear from Vikings. I might have to ask Brandon about that when we do our live podcast today. So the podcast that Brandon and I are going to be doing later on today, you're going to be able to check it out on YouTube and Facebook. So make sure you're following Facebook and YouTube. Dan Kasper at DANKASPER or Kasper Sports on Facebook. So you're going to be able to live stream it and ask questions and all that on there. So we're going to have a bunch of different topics to hit up on, some fun stuff to hit up on. But I might have to ask Brandon about this one, get his thoughts since he's our Vikings fan and such. But yeah, I did see that. So got a couple of receiver defer questions I'm going to save. I'm assuming they're receiver defer questions, so I'm going to save those for about 15 minutes. But a couple people throwing out some draft talk or draft trade proposals, excuse me, for the green and gold. Really quick, Bucks are back in action tonight, coming off of their loss against the Lakers the other night. Bucks now hitting the road as they take on the Pelicans of New Orleans. That game coming up tonight. They've got Atlanta. This begins a quick road trip here for the Bucks. 3 games on the road: New Orleans, Atlanta, Washington, before returning home next Wednesday to take on Memphis. A quick update on where everything stands right now in the NBA as we start to wrap up this regular season, still only one team. We've got teams that've got like 10 games left. Bucks have 10 games left in the regular season, and there's only one team in the entire association that has clinched a playoff spot. And it's weird. It's kind of crazy because when you look at the Eastern Conference, 11 teams are still in contention for the postseason. Think about that. Only one team, Boston, has clinched a playoff spot, but there's only 11 teams that are still in playoff contention when we count Boston. That's because Toronto has been eliminated, Charlotte has been eliminated, Washington has been eliminated, and Detroit has been eliminated. Brooklyn is the lone team, the only team that's outside the top 10 as the standings are out there right now. That's it. And they're 5.5 back from Atlanta, who's holding on to that 10 spot. So we may not be that far off of Brooklyn being eliminated, and then instantly it's like, oh, the rest of the 9 teams in the Eastern Conference have clinched playoff spots, but there's still some juggling around. We don't know how the seedings are going to work out. Bucks are still holding on to that 2 spot. They're 2 games ahead of the Knicks now. Knicks are at the 3rd seed. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've been playing some really good hoops. Cleveland's 2.5 back. Orlando's in that 5th seed. They're 4 back from the Bucks right now. Remember, the Bucks have Orlando a couple times at the end of the season. So depending on how things stand, those 2 games might be a little bit more important for Orlando than it would be for the Bucks there. No team has clinched, and the Western Conference is the same as the Eastern Conference. The only difference is in the Western Conference, no team has clinched a playoff spot. We know who's going there, but they haven't officially clinched yet. But there's 11 teams alive. Utah has been eliminated. Memphis has been eliminated. Portland's been eliminated. San Antonio's been eliminated. Houston, who has won 10 in a row right now, the Rockets, they've won 10 in a row, are making things a little bit interesting here. They're 1 back from that final spot that's currently being held by the Golden State Warriors. Houston's making a late run here. And they are a team that, when you look at, I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about Houston. Just I had to watch them a couple nights ago because they were on TV and Hudson wanted to watch it. But 26-11 at home and just 11-24 on the road. Oof. But they're making a late run. Making a late run here. But you got 11 teams still alive, but none in the West have clinched. And you've got races galore in this Western Conference. That's the thing is some of these top teams like Denver, Minnesota, and OKC, they may not be able to rest guys in their final 2 games because they still got to play for the 1 seed or the 2 seed. If they want, not to face a play-in or not to, what do I want to say? For them to play a play-in team. So you've got, when it comes out, you got OKC, that second to final game, they're going up against the Bucks. Bucks might have stuff wrapped up right there. Minnesota's probably hoping, hey, Bucks, can you still play your guys and maybe get that W? But you look at the Western Conference and how tight it is. A lot of these top teams, they may not have that luxury of resting some of their main guys because they still got a lot to play for. Denver's currently holding on to the 1. Minnesota's a half game back. Oklahoma City's a half game back. Minnesota's playing good too. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've been they're on a 3-game winning streak. Then you got the Clippers. Then there's this next group, 4 through 6. Heck, it's 4 through maybe 8. Clippers are in the 4th spot. The Pelicans are just a game back. So this game tonight, no pushover for the Bucks. You're going up against a playoff team, a 44-28 Pelicans team. But the Pelicans are just a game back from the Clippers. You got Dallas, who's playing really well, 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 5 in a row. They're just 2 back. Phoenix is a half game back from Dallas, and Phoenix is that first team that's got to play the play-in. Then you got Sacramento, who's just a half game back from Phoenix, 1 game back from Dallas. They're in the A spot. You got the Lakers, Golden State, and as we mentioned, Houston. So with like 2 weeks left, 2.5 weeks left, 10 games ish, there's a lot to play for yet in this regular season when it comes to the NBA, including the Bucks. I think it's important for the Bucks to get that 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And ideally, I would like them to wrap up and get this 2 seed with a couple games left to go in the regular season. Get some rest for Dame and Giannis. Especially Giannis if he's dealing with hamstring and Achilles tendonitis. I think the dangerous team to watch, though, in the Eastern Conference, I know I said this the other day, but last night there was, with the 76ers game on, Adrian Wojnarowski mentioned Joel Embiid. There's confidence that he's going to be able to return before the playoffs start. So to get some regular season games in. The thing is like Philadelphia right now is that ace seed. They're in that play-in. I would really like it if Joel Embiid comes back in Philadelphia. First of all, doesn't get the 7 seed. Can't get any higher than the 7 here. But if they can stay 8, 9, 10, and then potentially have to play Boston. I think Boston wants nothing to do with Philly. I think Boston would still win the series, but I think Philly can make it a little bit harder on Boston than what Chicago would do or Atlanta would do. But you bring in Joel Embiid to Philadelphia right before the postseason starts, that completely changes your team. That completely changes that whole series. So I don't want to see Philly, like if I'm for the Bucks, the one team I do not want to see in that first round would probably be Philly, because I think Joel makes things obviously completely different. I would like to see Boston have to take on Philadelphia in that first round. Boston, I think, would still win, but maybe give them, a little bit more of a run, a little bit more of a difficult path. All right, let's take a quick break here. Then we got receiver defer. Big thanks to everybody who sent over some receive or defer questions. If you got last call, I could use a few more. Okay, I could use a few more. So send those puppies on over. Hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Quick break, and we'll wrap up the second hour already on this opening day. And then don't forget, we've got Jake Boakes coming up at 8:30 to answer your outdoor questions. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Carpet City Flooring Center continues to do some amazing stuff, amazing projects. Just check out their Facebook page. Make sure you're liking and following their Facebook page so you can see some fantastic transformations that they've been doing. They posted up some pictures yesterday of an older apartment building that they redid and put some new carpet in. And it looks fantastic. Looks amazing out there. And if you are looking to get some new flooring in your home, your office, wherever it may be, look no further than Wisconsin's premier flooring store, Carpet City Flooring Center, right here in Eau Claire. Our longtime friends and partners and supporters of ours, they do some fantastic work. We've gotten our bedrooms done, stairs, the man cave. We love Carpet City Flooring Center. So if you are in the markets and you need some new flooring, especially maybe if you're getting some tax returns here, look no further than Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. It is time to finish up the second hour here with a little receive or defer. A little receive or defer. Hey, quick too, by the way, before we get to that, it is also a Thirsty Thursday. So if you want to do any shout outs, little Thirsty Thursday shout outs to anybody, send those on over so we can do that. Mine was already Bob Uecker. I'm like, shout out, toast it up to Bob Uecker. He's going to be doing the home opener for the Brewers. But if you read that statement from the Brewers, there's also a little sadness to it. I was talking to Brandon about it yesterday a little bit here, but if you missed it, this was the post by the Brewers. Let me bring it up here. I saved it on my phone here. Bob Uecker calling the first pitch of the Brewers home opener as the official start of summer in Milwaukee. Bob expects to be on the mic on April 2nd to call the game on WTMJ and the network, which is us right here too. And he'll take that and he'll take it one day at a time after that. It's that one day at a time after that that's like, I mean, we all hope he could do as many games as possible, but that's like, oh, it's gonna come. It's coming. So my Thirsty Thursday shout out is to Bob. But also I was looking, if you're just joining us right at the beginning in the first hour, if you got any good memories or stories, or if you remember any calls or anything like that on Bob Uecker, what are some of the favorite ones that stand out to you? What are some of the best ones or the favorite ones that stand out to you? Maybe it's like movie Major League, or maybe it was if you're a wrestling fan, WWE, or maybe it was a certain radio call or something that you read. What's your favorite Bob Uecker memories? Got one? Share it with the rest of the class, okay? So, all right, let's do some receive or defer. First up, this is from David on our texting line. Receive or defer. The Packers will trade up in the draft to get a top 15 pick. So they're currently at 25. I'll defer it for now. But let me phrase it this way. I wouldn't be surprised. Like if you were to say, would the Packers trade back or up in the first round? If I were to reword it, receiver defer, the Packers would trade up instead of back in the first round. I would receive that. They got, I believe, the third most picks, tied for the third most picks in the draft. So I feel like Green Bay, if they were to make a move, unless they get an offer like the Saints did a few years ago, where they traded back a little bit when the Saints drafted Marcus Davenport and they got an extra first rounder for next year. Then Green Bay traded up a few spots and they got Jair Alexander. I believe that was Goody's first draft. I thought Green Bay, you get an extra first rounder just to move back a few spots, then you take that. But if I were to make a prediction today, I think they trade up and move up a few spots rather than moving back, unless it's like a deal it's like just ridiculously good. Because Goody's mentioned it a few times this offseason about, using draft capital to move across the board or even trade for some veterans and such. But yeah, I think, and so much of it is going to depend on how the board's falling at that point. But for Green Bay, like if they've got, I don't know, a safety, like if it's Cooper from Iowa, let's just say, for example, that they're really high on, and maybe they feel like they got to move up a few spots to get him. I could definitely see that. So I would say receive to the fact that they move up. Now, if it's top 15, again, you'd have to get the Jimmy Johnson draft chart out there and do the math and the points and figure out what it would all cost and such. But yeah, if I could rephrase it, man, if I could rephrase it, I would receive it. Receive or defer. The Packers. See, we got a lot of Packers stuff, even though it's kind of been quiet, but a lot of receiver defer questions here for the for the Pack. But receive or defer. The Packers will draft a running back in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Well, now you're just asking me to try to reveal what I'm thinking for my mock draft over here, Eric. But so first 2 days, that's rounds 1, 2, and 3. If they were, I'm going to defer it right now. I'm going to defer it, but if they were, it's going to be in the 3rd round. So I could receive it on the 3rd round. I don't think it'll be any earlier than that. Could be completely wrong, but I don't think it'll be. Yeah, I feel like they're really going to utilize Jacobs. 3rd round, I think, is going to be the earliest. I'll just leave it at that. So it's kind of like, I guess I'm receiving it. So I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. Whether it's, I don't know where Benson's going to go from Florida State. I know that's a popular one out there. It's not going to be Braylon Allen, I don't think. That's just, I think they need a different style running back now. So I guess I'm receiving it if I'm saying round 3. So receive or defer, Jackson Sheary will win Rookie of the Year. Well, I made this pick. I think he does win Rookie of the Year in the National League. And I think he gets the benefit a little bit, too, of coming in as the favorite for that. And again, I think he's probably going to hit in the 260s this year. It's not going to be like insanely eye-popping numbers, but I do think he wins Rookie of the Year. I think where he's really going to leave his mark is the stolen bases. And I just hope, I really hope Pat Murphy's aggressive on the base pass with these young guys this year, trying to get extra runs that way. So yeah, I'll receive it. A lot of receives so far today. A lot of receives. Receive or defer. The Bucks will finish the season as the 2 seed. Yeah, I'll receive that. I think they're going to get it. I just hope that they lock it down with a couple games left to go. Maybe before that, those 2 road games against OKC and Orlando to wrap up their season. I'd like it. Then, you can rest Giannis a little bit. Dame's been playing a ton of minutes. You can rest him a little bit too. So I'd prefer it if they could wrap it up with just 2 games left to go here and maybe get a little bit extra rest, because that's the thing is like Doc Rivers has been playing his veterans a lot. The one thing he has changed up quite a bit from the Adrian Griffin coaching run here was that you're not seeing a lot of the younger guys playing a lot besides AJ Green. But Andre Jackson Jr. hasn't been getting a ton of minutes. Marjan Beauchamp hasn't been getting a ton of minutes. Doc has really kind of relied on the veterans as part of his rotation here. So I think, personally, it would be beneficial to give some of those guys a little bit of a breather right before the postseason starts. Just my opinion. So, what else do we got here? We got our little receive or defer. Receive or defer. What is going on with the cords here? My goodness. Okay, receive or defer. Shohei Ohtani will be suspended at any point this season. I'm gonna defer. I'll defer for now. I don't know. It's such a weird. We've talked about it off and on this week. It's such a weird thing, man. It is. It's going to be a storyline throughout. Um, Part of me is just like I don't know if I trust Major League Baseball to, could they do something where they hold off on announcing it until like after the season, so it doesn't become a distraction during the season. You know what I mean? Like a little PR sort of thing there. So if they find something or they kind of take their time with their investigation, do they kind of try just to extend it so it doesn't become a negative storyline during the season? I mean, I could see that. I hate to be conspiracy theorists and all that, but I could see that. They don't want it overshadowing their season. So I guess I'll defer that he gets suspended at any point this season because I don't think Major League Baseball wants that to happen. So yeah, call it a little conspiracy theory out there, but I don't know how this is all gonna play. It's so weird. It's so weird. We got one more here. Receive or defer. The Brewers will win 85 games this year. Well, I picked them at 77, so I guess I have to defer that one. So I guess I got to defer that one. My biggest thing, and we'll talk some more Brewers coming up in the next hour, so I'll kind of save it then. But what is the biggest question mark for the Brewers? I'll throw it back to you guys and gals. What is the biggest question mark for the Brewers heading into this season? If you had to pick one, just one, don't give me a list, give me one. I'm going to force you to one. Okay. What is that biggest one? I'll tell you, if you missed it in the first hour, you already probably know it, but we'll revisit it. But I'll throw it out to you guys because I want your input. I want your thoughts. I want your opinions. What is the biggest question mark with this Brewers team? Got to only pick one. I'm going to hold you to one. Okay. Last one, we got one that just came in here. Receiver for a one seed will lose in the Sweet 16. Uh Defer. I think every one seed's going to win their Sweet 16 matchup. I think the toughest one is Houston going up against Duke. I think that's the toughest one. UConn's going to win. Purdue's going to win. I think North Carolina beats Alabama. I do think Houston beats Duke. But if I had to pick one seed to lose, I'll go Duke beating Houston. All right. We're going to, shot clock's going to cut me off here in a minute. So coming up next hour, we'll get back to some more Brewers talk. Again, no opening day today for the Brewers as the weather, thanks to no roof in New York. We'll get the opening day tomorrow for Brewers versus Mets. But it is opening day across the league. We got Twins in action this afternoon. Cubbies in action tonight too. So still is kind of opening day. Still is opening day. But, give me your World Series picks. Give me your Brewers predictions, okay? How many wins do you think the crew's going to have? Hit me up with those predictions. Hit me up with your World Series predictions. And give me your predictions. We were doing this in the first hour. Give me your predictions on what you think Jackson Cheerios line's going to be. What are his statistics? What are his numbers going to be this year? We went through Fangraphs projections. What are yours? All right. 2 in. We got one more to go. We'll be back after these news updates. Third and final hour on this Thursday morning. Appreciate you all tuning in. However, wherever you may be tuning in from, coming up in this final hour, we'll get back to some more baseball talk here. Looking for your World Series predictions on this opening day. Brewers predictions, even though the Brewers will be playing tomorrow. But give me your predictions, all right, via the text line, that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, or hit me up on Twitter at DANKSPR, Twitter/X, whatever the heck you want to call it at this point in time. Also coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with Jake Bolks, our conservation warden buddy. Thank you to those of you who have sent over questions. We've got those over to Jake, so we'll hear from him in about 25 minutes or so. We asked right before the break at the top of the hour there, asked you for what do you think is the biggest concern for the Brewers starting rotation? Or excuse me, what do you think is the biggest concern for the Brewers? Because my pick is the starting rotation. But if you had one concern or one big concern holding you to just one, what would it be? We kind of touched on that a little bit in the first hour, but in case you're just joining us and want a chance to chime in on this, mine was the starting rotation. Because well, first of all, you got Freddie Peralta out there, and we've seen Freddie Peralta over the years. When he's on, he's on. He's a former All-Star. He's been really good. But I think the question surrounding Freddie, is he ready to be an ace? The number one dude, number one guy. We're going to find out this year. But after that is like, the image that comes to my mind when we think about the Brewers starting rotation is like a Jordan shrug or a shrug emoji. Like, I have no idea. I don't know how it's all going to work out. DL Hall is going to get to start on Saturday. The kid that came over as part of the Corbin Burns trade. From all accounts, it's positive stuff. The kid's got electric stuff. But is it going to click this year? Is it going to be a little inconsistency because he's young? Is he going to have some good moments and some down moments? I don't know what to expect from him. I don't know what to expect from Colin Ray this year. We saw him for the first time last year. Didn't know who the heck he was. Gets called up. He's in his 30s. Played a lot because of injuries. Now he's a part of this rotation. I don't know what to expect from him. Joe Ross trying to resurrect his career. I don't know what to expect from him. I have no idea. And then, even Jacob Junis at the end, I don't know how this rotation is going to be. The last couple of years. And Wade Miley, how many innings are we going to get from the guy? Is it going to be 120? Is it going to be 100? Where's that line? What's that line for Wade Miley? The last couple of years, starting rotation has been just a huge strength for the Brewers because you had your top three, Corbin, Brandon, Freddie. And then you throw a Wade as your fourth. You're feeling pretty good with your top three. That was like the strength, one of the biggest strengths of this team for the last couple of years. And now you look at this and it's like perhaps the biggest question mark. I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to play out. I hope Colin Ray, even though he's a veteran, can he take another step this year? Can Ross resurrect his career? Can DL Hall be a guy right away in the early parts? Can he start off his career? I know he got pitching time with Baltimore and such, but really start his career as a starter with the Brewers and just come, firing on all cylinders right away? Odds are probably not, but we're hoping. Are we going to see Robert Gosser at the end of, at some point this season? It's just that's the big unknown for me, and that's honestly why I've got the Brewers sitting around 77 wins this year, because I don't know how that starting staff's going to go. The last couple of years, we needed top three pitchers like a Brandon and a Corbin and a Freddie out there, and a dominant bullpen with Devin. That's the other thing too, is remember Devin Williams is going to be missing some time here. We may not see the guy until what, June? So you're missing perhaps your best pitcher for a big part of the season, beginning part of the season. And, last couple of years, the Brewers, I mean, we would put so much pressure on this pitching staff because the offense, you didn't have any confidence in whatsoever. The pitching staff would have to go out there, the starting staff would have to go out there and pitch gem of these games. And then if you had a small lead, you're putting a lot of pressure on the bullpen to hold on to those leads and come away with victories. Now you got a starting staff that's full of questions, and you're losing your all-star closer due to injury. That pressure is now on this offense, an offense that's got some veterans mixed in with a lot of young talent, but high potential with that young talent. You bring in Reese Hoskins to hopefully provide a little bit more power at that cleanup hitter spot, right? You're hoping that he's a guy that maybe gets you 30 home runs this year. Middle of the order dude. You're hoping Willie Adames bounces back this year in a contract year. You're hoping that's motivation to where, all right, he's going to bounce back and have some better offensive numbers, maybe batting in that fifth spot. Gary Sanchez, maybe getting you some quality at bats at DH or starts at catcher when Contreras isn't playing. Contreras is coming off of a Silver Slugger award. Can he take another step? Can he continue to play at a high level on the offensive side of the plate? Is Christian Yelich going to be similar to last year where maybe he's going to be 280? But if Pat Murphy wants to hit him at that 3 spot, maybe not as many stolen bases, but maybe more RBIs. So you got those veterans. But then you throw in a Jackson Churio. What are we going to get from him this year? The spotlight's on the dude. The pressure's on the man. This young kid just turned 20. Sal Frelick, is he good? We saw him a little bit last year. Bryce Terang, are those guys going to take the next step on the offensive side? We know they're really good defenders. Now the question is can they take another step in their offensive game? Can they take another step at being more consistent at the plate, getting on base so we can utilize that speed to maybe steal more bases this year? Garrett Mitchell, Joey Weimer, same thing. To me, there's more questions on this Brewers team. Maybe more unknowns is the best way to say it. More unknowns because I don't know what to expect. It's kind of, again, I know we use this comparison a lot. It's kind of like Green Bay, where we're going into a season. I didn't know how the rookie wide receivers were going to look. I was excited about Jaden Reed, but I didn't know how he was going to do, or Dontavian Wicks, or didn't expect really anything from Bo Melton. The rookie tight ends we were excited about, but we didn't know what to really expect in year one. We didn't know what to expect from Jordan Love. I'm kind of having that too with this Brewers team for a lot of these guys. I don't know what to expect from Jackson Churio in his rookie year. I hope it's really good. Is Sal Frelick going to take that next step? Bryce Terang, especially a Bryce Terang plus defender on that second base side. But can he get on base? Can he consistently get on base? Is one of these youngsters, whether it's Garrett Mitchell when he comes back from injury, who's going to be that leadoff hitter? Because we know Pat Murphy wants to have Yelich batting in that third spot. Contreras at 2, Yelich at 3, Hoskins at 4, Willie Adames probably at 5. And he wants one of those speedster guys, young guys up there at the top. Who's that going to be? He already said Churio's going to bat towards the bottom of the lineup. Sal? Probably was going to be Garrett Mitchell, but now is it going to be Sal? Who's going to be the table setters? And can they do it consistently? I want to see one of those young guys consistently get on base. Then you got Contreras up there. You're moving station to station, moving guys around. Ideally, if it's Sal hitting leadoff, he gets on base. All right, maybe you're stealing second. Contreras hits a shot. You got to run in. If not, maybe you're moving him to third on a base hit. Then you got Yelly hitting him. We can all play the scenarios in our head. A lot of us have played baseball. at certain levels. We can all play it in our head, but I don't know how it's going to work out. And let's face it, too. Pat Murphy, big unknown, too, right? What's his mindset, his philosophy? What's the game plan going to be for him? What is, is he going to be a little bit more old school where, hey, we're going to be aggressive on the base paths. We're going to steal a bunch of bases this year. That's one of my bold predictions. I think the Brewers are going to be top 3 in the majors in stolen bases. If I were to make a bold prediction, I think that's where they're going to be. They were 11th last year in the majors in stolen bases. I think they make a jump this year. I don't have any expertise in this, but in my opinion, I think we're going to see Pat Murphy try to be more aggressive with that. But the thing is, the only way you can be more aggressive with that is if these hitters get on base consistently. Bryce Terang gets on more. Frelick, Cheerio, Mitchell. So a lot of unknowns with this, but it also provides some excitement too. Kind of, again, like Green Bay. I was excited to head into this Brewers or that Packers season because it was a little bit unknown. Maybe a little bit lower expectations too, but it was a little bit unknown. And to be fair, the first couple months was like, oh God. You start off with a big win against the Bears. You're thinking, all right. And then it's just like, oh God. Raiders loss and some of those, I was like, what are we doing? And then it just flipped the switch. I kind of feel like that might be the case for the Brewers. Might be some ups and downs in the beginning parts of the season, first half of the season, but maybe then, as kind of Pat Murphy said as one of his last liners of spring training, be careful because these guys may believe themselves into contention. Might be some ups and downs in the beginning, but then that second half, if they get on a roll and these younger guys start to kind of settle in and gain some more confidence, and maybe they'll go on a little bit of a run. But I guess that's a long way of saying too, like, to go back to the original question, what is the top concern I have or the biggest question mark I have for this team? It's the starting pitching staff. I outside of Freddie Peralta, I don't know. I don't know. How healthy is Wade Miley going to be this year? What are we going to get from Colin Ray? What are we going to get from Jacob Junis? What are we going to get from Joe Ross? We're going to get one of those youngsters up at some point this year. Is Aaron Ashby going to get some starts? I don't know. Brewers are going to announce their opening day roster, it sounds like, at 11 a.m. today. But I know we know a lot of those guys that are already going to be on there. I mean, maybe a couple of like, oh, interesting picks over there. I think for me, the one is going to be who kind of fills in for Garrett Mitchell. So the thing is, Pat Murphy's kind of been leaking out a little bit of like certain players and certain, where they're going to be playing and that. So he saw the other day, was it yesterday? Cheerio's going to get the start in right field opening day tomorrow. Assuming Yelich is getting the start in left. Garrett Mitchell's out for a month. Who's going to get that start in center? Is it going to be Sal? Weimer? Perkins? Got to be one of those guys. And if it's Sal, who gets to start at third? Is it going to be Ortiz? Ortiz made the team. Is he going to get to start over at third? Could it be Monasterio? So you got a couple. It's kind of like a trickle-down effect. So that's where you might see a couple of like interesting ones out there. I was reading Brewers.com, their latest roster projection. This was from yesterday from David Adler, who's been covering the Brewers this year for Brewers.com for Adam McCulvey. But he's got 2 catchers on here, William Contreras and Gary Sanchez, Rhys Hoskins, Bryce Terang. Does have Joey Ortiz over there, Sal Frelick, Willie Adames, Christian Yelich, Blake Perkins, Jackson Cheerio. So for the outfielders, for what it's worth, for his projection, he's got outfielders for Yelich, Cheerio, Frelick, Perkins. That's his four. Yeah, you kind of wonder how much does the Garrett Mitchell injury, where he's going to miss a month, affect Sal Frelick potentially playing third base? Maybe in the first month or so until Garrett Mitchell gets back, we may see Sal Frelick in the outfield a lot more than what initially was expected. Bench utility, Jake Bowers, Andrew Monasterio, Freddie Peralta, your starting pitchers, Freddie Peralta, DL Hall, Colin Ray, Joe Ross, Jacob Junis, till Wade Miley comes back. And then relief pitchers without Devin Williams. There's probably some names you don't recognize or remember. You got Pyomps, Abner Uribe, Milner, Peguero, Bryce Wilson, Hudson. I'm kind of curious to see Abner this year. The flamethrower, the youngster, the guy that was just lighting up the radar gun last year. He could be a guy that maybe he's put into some closing or save situations this year. He's got a lot of power. Age 23, young, big guy. Flamethrower. I'm excited to see if he can continue to grow this year too. All right, some predictions for the World Series here. Let's go through some of that. So we've got Dodgers, Orioles. Dodgers win. That's from Matthew. Ben's going with the Braves over the Yankees. We've got Josh is going to go Dodgers over the Yankees. We've got Jake here. Jake is not Jake from State Farm, but Jake here is going to go with Baltimore over the Braves. We've got, and let me just kind of scroll through here because these are from a little bit ago as well. But we've got another Braves. Braves over Blue Jays. I like it. Outside the box a little bit. Okay. Why not? Why not? We've got a Dodgers losing to the Yankees. That's from Joe. We've got, this is from, who's this? Okay, that's from another Ben there. Looks like another Ben. Ben is going to go with the Braves winning the World Series. Doesn't have a matchup in the World Series there. Chris is going to go with the Dodgers over the Yankees. Okay, a lot of common themes here. Braves, Dodgers, Yankees, Baltimore. We do have a Texas one. Texas repeat as champs. They defeat the Dodgers. We got a Houston pick here. Houston, this is from Travis. Houston, Travis is saying Houston loses the World Series to the Braves. So what else do we got here? Another Dodgers over Yankees, Braves over Baltimore, Baltimore over Dodgers. So that's kind of where everybody's at right now with their World Series prediction. A lot of the common ones, right? Repeat offenders, if you will. Dodgers, Braves, Yankees, Baltimore's on there. Got a little bit with Houston and Texas on there, but it's the same teams at the top there. So, keep them coming. If you got some predictions, send those puppies on over, okay? 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Also, if you haven't done so yet, don't forget you can go to our fan cave at sportstalk1051.com. Click on that fan cave, and if you want to redo your Sweet 16, make your Final Four picks, you can do that. Now, we're still doing the main bracket challenge, but if you're already out of it and you want a little bit of bragging rights, just click on that. You'll see the tab. It says 64, 16, and then 4. Just click on the 16 tab, and you can redo your picks. I got to do mine, but I'm going to go all chalkish here with my Final Four because we're going to find out who's in the Final Four after this weekend. But I'm going to go Purdue. I'm staying with UConn, Purdue in the finals. UConn winning it. UConn, Purdue, Houston, Arizona. If I had to redo it. So, all right, let's take a quick break and we'll talk some outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. He'll be joining us coming up in just a few minutes. prices in the entire Chippewa Valley. And with the expert and friendly customer service from Sean and Hunter, they'll help you get ready to hit the field and hit the woods this spring turkey hunting season. Your checklist can be fairly long when it comes to getting ready for turkey season. Check off a couple of those boxes by simply going to Tilden Gun. That way, you can really focus on improving your turkey calling this year. Visit Tilden Gun at 12427 98th Avenue in Chippewa Falls. And don't forget, you can also visit tildengun.com to check out their awesome selection. Best of luck this spring turkey hunting season.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Marcus is a connoisseur of anything that's free, so he was happy to read the disclaimer on TurboTax Free Edition.
Roughly 37% of taxpayers qualify. Form 1040 and limited credits only. See how at TurboTax.com. That's me.
File your taxes 100% free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your max refund guaranteed. See if you qualify to file for free at TurboTax.com. See max refund guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lake shores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota,
the fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa, to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from date of purchase but is waived if paid within promotional period. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for full offer details.
Attention homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? Fog between the glass? Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's time to replace. And right now you can get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen. Plus with our March 31-day sales event, you can save $377 off every window and $777 off every door when you buy 4 or more units. Just text FRONT to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no monthly payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Text FRONT to 200-300 to save $377 off every window and $777 off every door when you buy 4 or more units. Hurry, this incredible 31-day sales offer is only in March. Text FRONT to 200-300. Text the word FRONT to 200-300. FRONT to 200-300.
It's all new, and we're calling it The Farm at 95.9 FM and 1150 AM. I'm Bob Bosol, and for over 40 years, I've reported on the world of agriculture on wax. But that only gives me an hour or so a day, and since we all know you're working a lot longer than that, we created The Farm. We get you round-the-clock information you need and play the songs that help you get through another Midwest workday from Wayland and Willie to Mellencamp and Combs. Farming isn't just a job, it's a lifestyle, and this is the soundtrack to it. Welcome to The Farm at 95.9 FM and 1150 AM.
Do you feel like you're having a bad hair day every day? Minerals in your water can build up, leaving your hair dry, frizzy, and even discolored. A Water Care water softener can nip that problem right at the source. Book your free home water analysis online now with the water experts at Gibson's Water Care. No long-term contracts. Locally owned, American-made products. Need a plumber? Gibson's can help with basic plumbing needs too. Go online to Gibson's Water Care for more details.
Because you have high standards and won't settle for anything less, like your wife did. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
Two of the most important things you need to keep up to date on your vehicle are oil changes and tires. And guess what? You can accomplish both of those right at ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Not only does ASAP Used Auto Parts have a wide range of high-quality used auto parts, they also offer oil changes and can hook you up with a new set of tires to hit the road. No more looking for multiple places to get each of those jobs done. You can get it all done at ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Just give them a call at 715-514-4501 or visit them at 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire to set up your appointments. Illini Greg, I was wondering if you were tuning in. He's got, like I said a little bit earlier, I think this is going to be a fantastic game. Probably my favorite matchup of the Sweet 16 tonight. Illinois versus Iowa State. Illini Greg saying Illini need to take care of the ball to a reasonable degree, and most importantly, make their threes. Iowa State is tenacious on D, but their aggressiveness will give up the three ball. Just depends if you are hitting them or not. Let's go Illini. All right, you know what time it is. Thursday, 8:30.
Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your Outdoor Tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
It is time to catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes, Wisconsin Conservation Warden. Jake, I think a lot of people are getting ready for turkey hunting now that we had those extra tags going on sale last week, and well, we got a couple questions. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not bad, buddy. First of all, how's your bracket doing?
Well, I was just going to say, I think before the importance of the turkey comes, tonight's game is pretty important. I got Iowa State all the way to the end here, so I need a win tonight.
Winning the whole thing? You got Iowa State?
I got them in the championship game. I don't have them winning it, but I got them upsetting UConn and such. So we'll see what happens.
Who do you have winning it?
I picked Houston.
Okay.
You know, I kind of just went with one of the powerhouses, I guess. But I thought I'd throw Iowa State in there. I picked some upsets, but I don't know. You guys have obviously been following it. It's one of those years where if you do pick the top seeds, you're doing all right.
Yeah. What is it? Every 1 seed and 2 seeds alive, yet still in the Sweet 16. So I like that one. Iowa State, Houston. That's going against the whole UConn, Purdue popular picks. I like that one. I like that a lot.
Well, it's hard to go. I know Purdue is a different team than last year, but I had them going pretty far last year, just like most people. So it's hard to get back on that bandwagon after last year's debacle. So I do got them in the Final Four, but not going there. Iowa State's my little, if you want to call it an underdog, but that's who I went with.
I like it, and I like TJ, their coach there, Whitewater product too. So anytime we can have success on the statewide too, I'm good with that.
Yeah, nope, I agree with you.
All right, so let's get to a couple questions here for turkey hunting, man. So first off, we had somebody ask, what should I do, or what happens if I shot a turkey, but maybe accidentally it kills 2? I don't know if they're referring to like if a turkey's behind it or next to it or what.
That's exactly what they're referring to. So I don't want to say it's common, but I think everyone in the state, if not every year, every couple of years, gets that call. And unfortunately, it usually happens during the youth season, where someone will shoot a turkey. They think they got, whether they try to identify their target and make sure there's nothing behind it, or sometimes those turkeys, one will sneak up behind it. You'll never see it. So sometimes people do shoot into a group of turkeys. They have one tag, and then they go up to check it. They got 2 of them laying there. So first and foremost, the best thing to do is just to get on your phone. Most of us have phone service wherever we're hunting, and just give the hotline a call and self-report. If you self-report and explain what happened, you explain that you tried to make an ethical shot, you didn't see the turkey, this one was behind it, then we can work through it. Most wardens will, or all wardens will take in the totality of the circumstances and see what's going on and be able to work the way through it. Now, if you try to find someone else to register it, or you do this or you do that, and you try to hide it, or you leave it out in the woods, and we find out, then there's obviously going to be enforcement action and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So with that, still turkey, somebody had asked, is there a waiting period for me to buy a turkey tag? If I buy one the week of that season, do I have to wait a certain amount of days before I can go hunting?
Yeah, another good question. So there is no waiting period for any of our hunting seasons or fishing seasons. So once you buy your tag, it is good immediately. So say it's later in the season and you have a free Tuesday, you're like, oh, I want to buy a bonus tag and go hunting. You could buy it that morning and then jump in your truck, go hunting, shoot a turkey, and you're good to go. So as long as before you hit the woods, before you go hunting, as long as you buy, you have your license, you have your tags that are applicable to that season, you're going to be good to go. So no waiting periods or anything like that.
That's kind of nice too, because weather dependent too, right? You're like finding out, hey, this is actually going to be good weather. I can maybe take a couple days off and hit the woods.
Yeah, I think the waiting period was before my time, and I understand some of the science and culture behind it, but it is pretty nice. Turkey hunting, like if you wake up one day and it's nice and you want to go turkey hunting, you buy a tag and go. I mean, same with deer hunting. If all of a sudden a friend calls you and they're like, hey, we want to do deer drives, and you're like, sweet, buy some bonus tags if you have them for antlerless season, and you can go hunt immediately. So it gives people more of an opportunity to kind of hunt on a whim legally if they want to.
Yeah, I remember I was when I was a younger kid, I remember it was like the rifle season. You had to wait, I think it was 3 days or something like that if you got a bonus tag.
3 days. And again, this is before my time, so someone's going to know the law better than me. But before I got here, there was, you couldn't hunt 24 hours before the season or whatever the rule was a day before, different things like that. So a lot of those have switched since 2014, since I got here.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
on that, I was just going to say, before we move off turkey potentially, there's a couple of things that sparked my thoughts when we were talking about shooting two at once. So if someone does have 2 harvest authorizations for turkey during that time period and you shoot 2 of them, that's totally legal. So you're always allowed 1 bearded turkey per harvest authorization. So if you were lucky enough or if you pulled, like with the drawing, you got your C tag and then you went out and bought a bonus C season tag, you could potentially shoot and take 2 turkeys at once and be totally legal. So it's just how many harvest authorizations you have when you go hunting. But you always got to make sure you're hunting in the right season, because obviously in the spring it's only Wednesdays through Tuesdays, and then those tags are invalid. Right. The other thing with the turkey hunt is the youth hunt is coming up, and that's obviously before the first season. In the regulations this year, it does say that a youth is entitled to 1 turkey per harvest authorization. So that does indicate that a youth could hunt and kill more than 1 turkey if they have more than 1 harvest authorization, which is going to be the way it's enforced this year. But there was a recent law change that fixed that, because the law is supposed to read 1 turkey per youth season. So it's only, the youth are only supposed to be allowed to get 1 turkey per youth season. So this year in the regulations, it does say 1 turkey per harvest authorization. So if you have multiple harvest authorizations, then they could harvest more than 1. But starting next year, and it's already on the books, it's just not going to be enforced, or we're going to use our discretion per se, is it's going to be 1 turkey per youth per youth season.
All right. Well, good notes right there. Hey, before I let you go, just one more that came in about turkey hunting, really quick. Yeah. Is there any restrictions on a type of weapon to use for turkey hunting? I don't know if there. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Shotgun and bow and arrow.
Okay.
So shotgun and bow. No rifle, no single slugs. And I say shotgun, if you're using birdshot, turkey loads type thing. So you can't use a single projectile, which eliminates rifle, and then it obviously eliminates a slug from a shotgun and different stuff like that. So those are you just basically can't use a rifle. And then if you check I think it's like page 6 or 7 right away, it shows like the different types of ammo and guns and different things you can use. So I always brush up on the rigs. I got to get my weekly plug in for the regulations. So
there you go. We're gonna make a
always check those
T-shirt.
regs.
We're gonna make a T-shirt that says that. Always check the regs.
Always check the regs.
I like
don't
that.
listen to your friends sometimes.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. I'm excited. Obviously we got a little dose of winter right now, but I was driving home yesterday from Wausau for some work stuff, and I saw a ton of turkeys out in the field. So I was getting pretty excited for turkey season. I bought a few bonus tags. I'm ready to probably take too many days off to go chase them.
Me too, man. I got a couple, and I'm ready to get going here too. So, well, JK, and I guess too, kind of, we've been really quick. Maybe a note with fishing and that, because of the water levels we had like in early spring, but now with all that snow and the rain, I saw like the cities is kind of talking about the water levels. So, everybody's been able to get out there with their boats, but maybe now kind of keep an eye on water levels and such.
It's the spring, right?
Yeah.
Just like last year, there's nothing, and then there's too much, and then it's the summer where you can't even get a boat on a lake.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just one of those things. Just like you should always be prepared to have your boats registered, make sure you have life jackets, all that kind of stuff. You should always, you should always prepare for whatever the water and weather conditions are going to be, especially on any sort of river system. So you're right. One day it was low, and I could see the middle of the Chippewa River over the Short Street Bridge, but now it's almost flood stage. So before you go out, just be careful, and just always remember that that water, when it's ripping, it is very powerful. And to be honest, it picks up all the muck, and the thing usually isn't as good. So sometimes it's really not worth pushing to chase a fish when that water is close to flood level.
Well, Jake, we appreciate the time as always with you, buddy. We'll have to get you in for a little bit, maybe right before the opener or such, or sometime in April for a long form one to catch up on everything.
No, I like that. I think right before the season, I'll get in there. We can have a good time.
Perfect.
Maybe there's some leftover pie still from earlier this month in there.
Yeah, we'll
sneak somewhere.
We'll bring you a fresh one in.
Maybe I get a fresh one. Maybe cool.
Yeah, there you go. So, Jake, we appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. You guys have a good one.
You too. There you go. Jake Boakes, our conservation warden buddy for the great state of Wisconsin, answering your questions for our outdoor tidbits. Let's take our final break, and then we get to wrap things up with some picks and predicts. And you know what? We get to play baseball today. Not the Brewers, but some other teams do. We'll make some baseball picks coming up in just a little bit. Let's wrap things up. Time for some picks and predicts. Brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. Looking for somewhere maybe to catch some of the games today? Baseball, basketball, this weekend, races, all that good stuff. Head on over to the Elbow Room. Grab yourself a nice, cool man cave light and kick back and relax relax and watch some of those games over there. Maybe you're not relaxing because you're like Illini Greg. Maybe you're going to be all tense and anxious watching your favorite team and such. But let's do some picks and predicts coming up here. We got baseball games we get to pick too, and Sweet 16, and Badger women's basketball, and the Bucks tonight. Holy moly. So let's start with Badger women's basketball, Super 16 in the NIT, going up against Illinois State tonight. Why not? Let's go with the Badgers. I'm picking the Badgers to get a win against Illinois State at the Kohl Center tonight. Let's go to the Sweet 16 then for the men's side of things. We got a couple games tonight. Let's start with the East region. Work our way down here. UConn, San Diego State. Give me UConn to defeat San Diego State to advance to the Elite Eight. Illinois, Iowa State. Illinois, Iowa State. Illinois, Iowa State. You're welcome, Illini, Greg. I'm going to go Illinois. I'm going to go Illinois. I think this is my favorite game of the whole tournament so far. I'll go Illinois. North Carolina, Alabama. Give me North Carolina. Clemson, Arizona. Give me Arizona. Let's do some NBA games because we've got the Bucks in action tonight. Just a couple of them, though. Boston at Atlanta. Boston. Boston gets this victory. Milwaukee at New Orleans. Milwaukee's actually just slight, though. 1.5 point favorites. I think the Bucks bounce back from their loss against the Lakers, an awful loss against the Lakers. They bounce back and pick up that W. So, how about some baseball games now? All right, we don't get to do the Brewers one, which stinks. But quick reminder: we were supposed to be at Hy-Vee today for our opening day party. Brandon Berg and myself are still going to be over there. We're going to do a podcast, a live video stream edition of the podcast. So make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel, YouTube at DANKSPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports, or on my Twitter feed at DANKASPER. Live video stream. We're going to take some questions and all that stuff. And we're going to give away some Brewers Yankees tickets. So make sure you're tuning in to that. But we're going to be over at Hy-Vee doing that. Going to have a fun episode. We're going to touch on a bunch of different fun topics and such. I think Brandon wants to do his top 5 Greg Joseph memories. Kidding. Maybe not. But let's do some picks here. Angels at Baltimore. We're going to do every game that's on the docket today because it's opening day. So we're going to pick every single game. Angels at Baltimore. Corbin Burns gets the ball for Baltimore. Give me Baltimore. I'm going to go with them. Detroit at Chicago. The White Sox. Give me Detroit. Minnesota at Kansas City. Give me Minnesota. The Yanks at Houston. I'm going to go Houston in this one. Pittsburgh at Miami. Give me Pittsburgh. Giants at the Padres. Logan Webb versus Yu Darvish. Give me the Padres in this one. Let's go St. Louis at the Dodgers. I'm going to go with the Dodgers in this one. Toronto at Tampa. Give me Toronto. Washington at Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati. Cubs at Texas. Give me the Rangers, defending champs. Let's go Cleveland at Oakland. Give me Cleveland. Boston at Seattle. Give me Seattle. And then Colorado at Arizona. Give me the Diamondbacks for that game. So there you have it. We got a lot of stuff on the docket here. Baseball, Sweet 16, women's basketball, Bucks tonight. How do you not love sports, baby? How do you not love it? There's so much going on. So cool. Love it. All right. Hey, just dropped. If you want to check out, we've got a new episode of the Rollin' with the Golds podcast that is now out there. We had last week off because of spring break. And if you are a wrestling fan, you're going to enjoy this one because we catch up with a new national champion, Jared Stricker. joined the podcast, and that is now up there. So, Mr. Kratz, if you're listening this morning from Crash Trained, you were mentioned a few times in there, so you can check it out on the latest episode of the Rollin' with the Golds podcast, available on your favorite podcasting platforms at sportstalk1051.com. So that is now up for your listening pleasure. Talked a lot about baseball today with opening day. Brewers first pitch tomorrow, though, will be at 12:40. Apparently around 11 o'clock today, the Brewers will announce their opening day roster. So you can look forward to that online. We'll see who made it and didn't make it. Are there any surprise decisions out there? Who kind of fills in for Garrett Mitchell and such? So that'll be out at 11. We mentioned, we talked a little Bucks. With just 10 games left to go in the regular season here for the Bucks. Big game, starting a road trip tonight, going up against New Orleans, who they're in a fight for the middle part of the Western Conference. It's weird. Eastern Conference, Western Conference, both has 11 teams still alive with 10 spots. 11 teams still alive with 10 spots. Only one team in the entire association, the NBA, has clinched a playoff spot and has clinched the 1 seed, and that's Boston. So we got about 10 games left, depending on which team you're following, and still a lot of kind of shuffling around and seedings and all that. We got a good idea of who's going to make the playoffs, but a lot of the, and it could be just in a couple days, like all of a sudden one more team gets eliminated from each conference and boom, everybody's clinched a spot, but then you've got the seedings to kind of figure out there. So Bucks tonight going up against the Pelicans for their first of 3 on the road. Atlanta Saturday, Washington on Tuesday. What else do we got? We mentioned Sweet 16 begins tonight. It'll get going again tomorrow for the other half of that bracket, where we'll have Houston taking on Duke, NC State, Marquette. Can Marquette end NC State's hot run that they've been on, winning the ACC tournament, beating Texas Tech, beating Oakland in overtime? Can Marquette cool them down and advance to the Elite Eight, where they could face either Duke or Houston? And in the bottom half there, Purdue going up against Gonzaga. And the other game that I think is going to be a really fun matchup, Creighton versus Tennessee. So those are the games for tomorrow, though. So coming up tomorrow, speaking of tomorrow, Brandenburg, even though he's going to be on the pod with us today in a couple of hours from now, he'll be back in tomorrow as well. We'll do some local sports roundup with him as we inch closer to really getting into the spring sports season. I know practice-wise for some of those teams with the latest snow kind of derailed it a little bit there, but we'll get a local sports roundup with Brandon. Hopefully we'll catch up with Dr. Crow for another Inside the Training Room. I got a couple things. If we get him on, I don't know if anybody has social media, if they have the X or the Twitter, but Jaden Daniels had his pro day yesterday, quarterback, LSU. There was a picture. I don't know. Let me bring it up. I saved it because if we get Dr. Crow here, I got to ask him about this. There's a gnarly picture of Jaden. Yeah, this was a game. It looks like this was from a game. His elbow. It's like, what is going on here? It's pretty gnarly looking. So I'm hoping we get Austin on so we can chat about that thing tomorrow. But we'll catch up with Austin tomorrow. We'll talk some more Brewers as hopefully the weather, New York, Dome, come on, or Major League Baseball. How about you have opening day games in controlled climates, possibly, or maybe, I don't know. Seems kind of easy, but boy, frustrating. Anyways, but we'll talk some more Brewers and look ahead and really preview tomorrow's opening day game with the Mets with our baseball guy, Mr. Brandon Berg, tomorrow too. So, and then obviously we'll talk some hoops depending on what happens with any upsets tonight. Maybe so. Who knows? But don't forget, you can make your picks, your Sweet 16 picks, if you kind of want some more bragging rights. We got that Sweet 16 challenge on our website at sportstalk1051.com. All you got to do is click on that Fan Cave tab and enter where you did for the bracket challenge, and you'll see the tab over there too. So got Cream of the Crop also coming at you tomorrow. Reminder, you can always play along with us with our Cream of the Crop. If you got a shout out or you got a suggestion for a cream of the crop, B and I want to hear from you. Okay. Give us your cream of the crop suggestions. Okay. But we'll hit that up tomorrow too. Shot clock's going to cut me off here. DP and Adanitz, they're up next. If you missed our conversation just a little bit ago with Jake Boakes answering some turkey hunting questions, that'll be up on the Man Cave podcast later on this morning. Have a good rest of your day. If your team is playing today for opening day, enjoy it. Otherwise, just enjoy opening day overall because baseball season officially begins today. Kind of did last week with Padres Dodgers, but really gets going. You know what I mean. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., or we'll see you at Hy-Vee today.